This week we will be reading and learning about traditional tales. People have been telling traditional stories for many years. One kind of traditional story is a fairy tale. Fairy tales tell about events that could not happen in real life. The story often teaches a lesson. Fairy tales usually have a happy ending. This week you will read a fairy tale about a young girl in Yeh-Shen. Can you think about any fairy tales you've read or heard before? Can you describe some of the elements of fairy tales? For example, fairy tales have events that cannot happen in real life and characters that could not be real. What other elements do you find in the fairy tales you've read before? This week, as we read, we're going to be focusing on our target skill, sequence of events. An author of a story often tells story events in the order that they happen. The order in which events happen is called sequence of events. Thinking about the story events can help you understand the author's message or what you can learn from the story. We can put events in order in a chart like the one we see here. Notice the use of our transition words like first, next, last. Remember, just because they only put 3 boxes here does not mean we only have 3 boxes when we sequence events. We could end up with 4, 5, 6. It depends on how many important events there are in the story. Now, we've done sequence of events quite a bit, all the way back to kindergarten even. Thinking about the sequence of events can help us figure out what events are most important. Think about when we did our story structure. We filled in our characters, our setting, and our plot. We focused on our problem and solution for our plot. But when I met with many of you or looked at our plot boxes, our sequence of events are those events that work their way through from the problem to how it was solved. You can use this to help you as we read our story Yeh-Shen this week. We will also be using the target strategy of analyze and evaluate. To analyze as you read, think about the author's words and the story events. Then evaluate or decide how the words and events help you know what is important in the story. We will be talking more about sequence of events and analyzing and evaluating as we read this week.